sentence is death.
Alright, so to wrap up, yeah, we both agree Dredd is a good character. We're going up to the hour mark, so I'm going to try and make this quick. Right, so
it's okay.
The two characters I have major... Not... Okay, I should rephrase this. They're not major issues, but they're sort of just... They kind of linger on my mind to be like, Like, shut up, Twitch. I know my friend is streaming, but I'm recording. Let's talk about his sidekick, Cassandra. Okay.
Anderson. It's Anderson.
I know, her first name's Cassandra. Okay, so Cassandra Anderson. Okay, first off, the actress who plays her is a brilliant actress. Like, I've seen her in other roles, she's really good. And you know what, she does have a very good scene, which I will definitely talk about, so I'm actually going to rewind to it just so I can make sure my notes are good for his character. But introduction-wise, and as the film went on, she was kind of the same character, really. Obviously, she did go through changes, which I will talk about, because she's the character I have the least issue with. But it's also the fact, like, nearly in every scenario of this film, she has the same expression. Like, there's a gunfight going on, that face. She's standing next to Dredd and he's being intimidating, that face. They're about to literally get into a gunfight and Dredd says, "You don't look ready." That face. Like, again, I'm not insulting the actress. She's a good actress and she does have her moments in this film. But during the sections where I feel like she should be having a different reaction, like the minigun scene, the bit where Mama is shooting up this entire area to kill anyone near Dredd just to get close to him. That face. It's like, be a bit more scared, love. You're gonna die. The bit that she shines at is the psychic scene. The bit where she gets into the mind of this drug dealer. Holy hell, this scene creeped me out the first time watching it and still kind of makes me cringe from between my legs, given the scene where she had, like, the guy's trying to, like, freak her out by essentially molesting her, making her suck his penis. But she decides to have a bit of fun with him herself and is like, how about Mama bites off your dick? And the guy actually feels the pain of that. And the visual they have for it, oh my god, I'm looking at the scene right now and I'm cringing just at looking at that. Like I said, the film didn't skip out brutality in this movie. Like, don't put this film on for your kids.
Obviously.
Like, and that scene, the actress and the character Anderson really shine. The bit as well where she let go of that person that was being held hostage to work for Mama, that was pretty good too, and it really showed the type of character she is. She is the yin to Dredd's yang. Like, Dredd is he is a true judge. He's aggressive, he needs to be intimidating, whereas Anderson's meant to represent what a judge should also strive to be. Someone who upholds the law and helps. And her leaving the judges kind of showed off, like, how different she is from... And I guarantee if there was going to be a trilogy, she would definitely return in the sequel. Like,
yeah, no, most definitely. Unfortunately, I must disagree with you. I very much think that Anderson was a great character. But yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. That she was the yin to his yang, and the fact that, you know, and she wants to make a difference. She wants to, and again, the only place she can make a difference is in the judge world. And I also like that, okay, there is some kind of... she has her own personal baggage behind her. Again, there's a lot more layers to her, and I do feel like maybe you could make the joke that, okay, you know, she's just making the same face again and again. But again, you also have to remember that, okay, within this world, really look at it from her perspective. And again, we even talked about this with Dredd. It's like Dredd sees this type of shit every day. He's basically numb to it, and she has to try and kind of show that, okay, she can't show that she's nervous. She can't show that she can't screw up. because she knows that Dredd is pretty much, he's testing her. He's deciding, okay, do you have what it takes? So there is a reason why she doesn't act scared, or she doesn't make a different face, because again, she's trying to get used to this. She's trying to really, she's throwing herself in the fucking lion's bed, and she's trying to show the lion that she does not fear the lion. So in that sense, that's what I really like about her. But I also do like at the end, where, like you said, she shows what a judge also should. She even gives Dredd she even shows Dredd his humanity by making him question, okay, you know what, maybe I don't have to arrest every perp that is involved with this or that, or maybe I don't have to rush to judgment, like, because again, a judge is supposed to do good while also taking down bad guys. So, and at the end, when he still, even after everything that's happened, even after she lost her weapon, she let a perp go,
disobeyed her superior.
Yeah, exactly. She talked back to her superior. He still gives her a pass because she really just brought his humanity. She showed him that, okay, I have humanity. I'm not a machine. I should strive to really be more optimistic for perps who are just here, not because they don't want, not because they have to be here, not because they aren't here of choice. It's because they're just here because of bad circumstances. So she really does leave a big impact on Dredd. So as a character, I feel like, okay, yeah, I mean, I could see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I feel like, okay, well, that's kind of ridiculous considering, again,
let me
emphasize,
I don't think she's a terrible character, and I just feel like she needed a bit of better direction for her character, but I also just think she's an alright character, and you know what? She's not one of those characters that's just thrown in there to be like, hey, Dredd needs a sidekick. No, she has relevance in the story. And character.
Yeah, no.
So, that's why I think she's a bit more better than the other character I want to talk about. But
exactly.
I just wish she showed a bit more of the police side and the friendly side, really.
Well, again, I feel like her showing more of the friendly side, because again, it's a dynamic. Dredd is the aggressor, she's not the aggressor, and I feel like that dynamic is what makes her. She makes her she's pretty much she's on the same coin as Dredd. So, but I get what you're saying. So yeah, no, I think she was a fantastic character, and she is one of my favorite she is also one of my favorite parts of this film.
Yeah, I can see why people like her. I don't think she's, like I said, she's not the worst character. It's just like, this is my nitpicky side when I'm trying to have fun. Like, you know, the face bit is obviously me having a bit of a joke. If people take it seriously, I'm just having a laugh. Like, I just wish she did show a bit more of the. I mean, she did show a lot of badass sides, like the bit when that drug dealer was about to shoot her with her own gun, and you know, she has that one line. I can't remember what exactly she said at the top of my head, but when the guy gets his arm blown off and she just looks at him all intimidating, like a freaking roundhouse kicks him. It's like, okay, Anderson, you redeemed yourself a bit there. So who knows? Maybe the more I watch the film, maybe I will like her more. Like I said, my opinion on characters have changed. Like Dredd, I thought he was just kind of a standard action man hero, but upon rewatching the film over time, I've started to like him. So, you know, my thoughts might change on her over time. Like, you know, there's still time.
Yeah.
But the other character we're going to talk about before wrapping this up, Mama. Right then. Now, I feel like
you got a problem with Mama, boy?
Okay, first off, her backstory is pretty damn epic. For a Dredd story, especially for a film like this, it fits her character. Like, it's very gritty, it's dark, and it's not just... she's not one of those villains that you're meant to sympathize for. She is a bad guy. Like, you don't root for them, you don't feel sorry for them. She's a criminal, she loves hurting people and torturing them. You want her dead. But the way they went about it was not enough, in my opinion. Like, to bring up other villains, look at Darth Vader from the classic Star Wars movies. His first introduction...
Okay, whoa, that's a big...
Let me finish. Look at Darth Vader. In the first film, we kind of get an idea of the type of character he is. He's obviously restrained because of his superiors, but you get the idea that if he was let loose, you would see a monster. You would see this really bad guy, like his fight with Obi-Wan. I mean, when you look at the old original film, it's pretty tamed, but you get the idea of like how much of a threat Vader is, even when his superiors are holding him. Then in the next film, okay, maybe a bit unfair comparing Darth Vader. He's had a few more films to compare. But then let's look at the Dark Knight Joker. His introduction, brilliant. We get an idea of what his character is. And then just throughout the film, we see the villainous side of the Joker. We see him blow up a hospital. We see him, like, manipulating people. We see this psychotic and dark side to this character. He's not redeemable. And you see that because, like I said, he walked away from a hospital casual, like, while it was exploded. People died in that. He held hostages on the boat.
Yeah.
The only bit that really made me kind of hate Mama was when she gunned down those civilians, but that to me was kind of tamed. I mean, we see her skin those people, but it was already addressed that those people that she skinned were not good people. The backstory where she killed her pimp, we already know they were not good people. They were crackheads who were just trying to live off other people's suffering. And the rival gangs, they're not good people either. It was made clear, especially there's a gang called the Judges, or the Judged, where they hate judges and they kill them. They kill law enforcement, and she came in and killed them all. In fact, in a weird way, she probably did more justice than the judges did. Like, I mean, obviously she didn't. She started her own criminal empire. But it was the fact that I didn't really feel I really wanted to see her dead. The only part when I really wanted to see her dead was when she was going to have Cassandra killed. And, you know, she was threatening Judge Dredd because she was kind of like the final boss. Like, hey, they've gotten so far. And this is kind of like a video game now that I think about it. They start at level 1, and each time they fight harder levels, and they get to the final boss. It's kind of funny looking at it now. And don't get me wrong, her death, like, that's the thing films need to nail. The death of a villain needs to be, like, satisfaction. Because when that villain's defeated, you've waited for it. But for this one, I didn't really feel satisfied. Like, it didn't really make that much of a difference. Maybe to this block, but I don't know. She just seemed like... I mean, I wasn't expecting her to be a reoccurring villain if this was going to be a trilogy, because she's just another gangster that Dredd deals with on a daily basis. And it could, like you said in this review, maybe I've just been spoiled by so many great villains that I'm probably treating her a bit unfairly, because she has her moments. I just kind of wish, it's kind of weird for me to say, I wish I hated her more. Well, alright, let me tag in for a quick here. Before you tag in, just final pieces to say. I will say, when it got to the final bomb when she was threatening Dredd, and the bit where they're trying to intimidate one another, those bits I feel like were the best moments. Like Richard already kind of mentioned before, when he's talking on the comms and going, I am the law, you can see Mum is trying to keep a straight face, like they intimidate, like the snarky look. By the way, have you actually noticed that from the very first image we have of her, she does the very exact same expression to act like she doesn't give a shit? In her mugshot as well, when she was a prostitute. Like, I don't know, it's another great attention to detail there. Like, she carries on that attitude, but when she sees Dredd throw off Goatee Jack, rest in peace, brother. Like, she was like, oh shit, this guy's not like a normal judge. Like, even when she has her own corrupted police officers that she daily calls in case situations get bad, he kills through them very easily, and she's just like, right, I need to resort to using a bomb. And even then, despite the fact she's still trying to keep on that sarcastic, snarky attitude, Dredd is just like, just shot her in the gut and throws her out a window. That bit is satisfying. I will admit, it was satisfying when Dredd and Mama actually face to face. And obviously, I wasn't expecting her to pull out a giant minigun and start going all like heavy from Team Fortress 2 on him, because that would just seem a bit too ridiculous even for me. Because again, she's just meant to be a drug lord. Like, a drug lord would not put up a Scarface type of fight if they were going to be arrested. Like,
yeah.
They would do something desperate, like what was the name of that Mexican criminal? El Padro or something like that?
I think you're making your point.
Yeah, well,
we do have an hour.
Yeah, no, just one give up. When he was confronted, he tried to run away and just rapidly fired, and he got shot down. I guess that's what Mama was also meant to represent. She was just, in the end, just a druggie. You know, without her army, without her business, that's all she is. But really, aside those little 2 moments of face-to-face, she was not that much of a hateful villain or one that I was really looking forward to the final bit. The only reason I wanted to see her die is just because the moments with her and Dredd were badass. You know, but if I really had to say she was the worst part of the film is still fantastic. Like I said, there's been plenty of movies with terrible villains, or probably worse villains than Mama, but I still love. What's your reasoning for liking Mama?
All right, yeah. Hopefully, I don't get
why did
cut
I not
off.
make the joke? You're being a mama's boy. Why did I not make that joke?
I feel like Billy is. I feel like the points. Again, I can understand what Bill. I feel like Billy's just nitpicking. Like he's trying to find flaws with this film, and again, that just shows how great this film is.
True.
But.
I mean, I'm not really nitpicking that much. I'm just pointing out why I didn't really care for Mama that much.
Yeah, I know. But again, it's like, okay. All right, look. Mama is a great villain, and arguably, I would say, you know, and again, it's like, okay, like the whole idea, like, okay, you want to hate her, but at the same time, you feel sympathetic for her. Those are the type of villains that I really love, and I feel like comparing her. You can't compare, again, because I've made it clear so many times, Dredd is not a conventional comic book film.
Yeah,
so
I do think when I compared her to Darth Vader was a very unfair comparison. He's had decades of story, so...
It's like, you can't compare Mama to Darth Vader. You can't compare her to... You can't compare her to any other comic book villain, because, again... This is not your standard comic book film. This isn't your...
The Joker from Dark Knight, that was a fair comparison.
It really isn't, because, again, there's no motivation behind that. But, again, let me just say, okay, why I love Mama is because, again, she's a perfect antagonist for Judge Dredd, because she represents everything that is also wrong with the new judge system. Because again, it's like, okay, she was put through hell. She was abused verbally and physically by her pimp, and the judges really didn't give a shit. The judges didn't do anything to try and contact or even make her better.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think even the medic at the beginning of the film was like, "Do you know how rare it is we get a judge in this estate?" And they said Mama took over this district in like over time, which I think they're hinting at years. And I'm thinking to myself, has there never been a crime reported here?
Yeah, no. Again, Mama is essentially the she represents everything that is entirely wrong with the new judge system, but she also represents it's like, whereas the judges have power because they are essentially, they're handed this power. Whereas with Mama, she had to work her way to get where she is today. And I feel like the fact that she had to kill her pimp and she had to take over his establishment and work her way down to this building to really establish that, okay, as far as everyone else is concerned, the judges are not the law. She is the law. And just really showing that, okay, this woman and the fact that she has scars all over her face, that also, it does a great job of establishing that, okay, those are the scars of a person who has been through more more shit than anything the judges could ever go through. Because again, the judges don't really care or can't really afford to be everywhere at once because they're not they're not as big as they would like to be. So the reason why Mama works in this film is just because, okay, not only is she a great antagonist, not only does she have an actual motivation, unlike, Heath Ledger's Joker, which just did shit for the sake of doing shit, but that's why we love him. Whereas with here, it's like
cars.
Yeah, again, but here it's like, okay, there's so many layers behind this character, and the fact that what gives her even more points is that she's an original character of this film. She's not a comic book. She's not a villain from the comics. So the fact that they had to really try and flesh her out and give her all of these unique motivations and really make her somebody who physically, yes, she can't go toe to toe with Judge Dredd. It's not even a night and day comparison.
That's why I'm kind of glad they didn't go over the top with the action. Like, she puts on a mech suit, that would have really ruined the tone of the film.
She's not a physical challenge to Dredd, but she's a mental roadblock to him. She's making him question and making him see that, okay, you've entered my world, this is hell, and I basically control and run everything. You have no jurisdiction here. And the fact that in the end, where they finally come face to face, you can clearly see that, okay, after Dredd now realizes, like, okay, I need to show more humanity to perps. I can't be this heartless machine that just follows the code to the letter. Like, it's not, because again, Mama represents the gray area of the judges, whereas Dredd, throughout this whole movie, he sees things in black and white. You do good, you follow the rules, you're treated fairly. You don't follow the rules, you go to jail or you die. And I think, and I really like that at the end, that what really makes her death way satisfying to me compared to Billy is, again, and again, this is more symbolic than it is anything else, is that she enters this world via slow-mo and showing the beauties of slow-mo and why and how it's made her such a criminal mastermind of this establishment, but also at the end showing that, okay, she's essentially killed she's killed with her own medicine, the thing that helped her rose to power, the thing that gives the thing that takes, it's like, because again, it's like you really also have to go, because again, this helps when you watch the movie again. Like, the reason why slow-mo is also a main character in this movie, aside from Dredd, Anderson, and Mama, is the fact that, okay, when you take slow-mo, the world is frozen. And even when we see those criminals get thrown off the building by Mama, and one of her goons said, let's just hit him with a little slow-mo. Because again, it's like, okay, you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe she's doing that to be nice to them. Give them kind of a way to enjoy their death. But when you really look at it, it's like, okay, like even the medic says this early on, it must have felt like a long fall. So Mama,
because don't they say
falling,
like the brain, it makes time go 1% slower than it normally is. Like,
so again, Mama
like an hour
falling. Again, Mama falling to her death, seeing that she's about to die, and just really giving her an introspection of her essentially now not redeeming herself, but just seeing, okay, she even mentally, she was still no match for Dredd, and she accepts her fate, and she leaves our world via the drug that brought her to power. So I really feel like there are so many layers and complexities with Mama as a character. It just requires multiple viewings and really paying attention, because again, if you don't like her because you didn't hate her, I can't really see that as a defined argument, but I can see why but I can hear you, but I just feel like, okay, she may have been...
I'm a very casual viewer to things, to games, to movies, to TV shows. So
yeah, no.
It usually takes multiple viewings, from my perspective, to change off the characters.
Exactly.
Like, I can imagine me in like 2 years' time after watching this film a few times. Like, I'm definitely going to watch it a few times, maybe before work tomorrow. You know, I'll give it a quick watch, and my opinion may change on Mama and and all that. Because I agree what you're saying. Like, that's how you view Mama, but from a casual viewer who likes villains either be hated or you want to love to hate them, Mama just didn't fit that category for me. But your points do hold a bit of weight, because even just checking out the little footage now, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, no, again, it's like, and really considering that Mama wasn't even supposed to be in this movie, they wanted to just start off with Judge Death, arguably Dredd's most iconic villains, but they were like, okay, no, let's not start off big, let's go small, and using Mama for this film is also it was a great move in the end, because it's not only just playing it safe, but it's also showing us, okay, why should we have somebody who can physically go toe-to-toe with Dredd? Why don't we have somebody who can mentally go toe-to-toe with him and challenge him and show him this person is the product of the judges not caring, and showing that this person wasn't handed the power that the judges are constantly given day in and day out. This person had to work for that power. This person had to work to become feared within her own establishment. Whereas the judges, you see them, they automatically commend fear. Like, you fear the judges. You don't really view them as heroes. You view them as people, like, okay, they're almost like the boogeyman. You don't want to get involved with them. And you want to follow what they say to the letter. Yeah,
so those are your final thoughts on Mama, or do you have something else to add for her before we get to the wrap?
No. Those are pretty much it. Yeah, no. Mama is great. Again, I love everything about this film, and I feel like the more, like, again, I understand Billy's a casual viewer, and casual viewers may not see like I do, but that's why I think this movie bears repeated viewings. You have to see it multiple times to really see that, okay, there are way more layers to these characters, aside from Dredd, than you would dare think.
Yeah, I agree. And those are essentially our thoughts about this film. And it's funny you mentioned Judge Death, who is one of my favourite villains, especially from the old school original Xbox game, because that was the game Judge Dredd versus Judge Death. Really great game. It's on Steam. People should play it. And it makes sense why he wasn't brought in, because I think it's kind of like with the Dark Knight trilogy. With the first film, they didn't want to start off with the Joker, even though that was their original plan. It made sense to start off with what was his name again? Shit.
Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that was it. I feel bad not remembering. But yeah, it made sense to start off with him, because he is essentially, he's kind of not the weakest Batman villain, but I don't feel like he has the impact on Batman's life like Joker, Bane, or even Scarecrow. So, I think that film, I feel like the Dredd film kind of simulates that, with Mama being, she was obviously planned to be the start-up to what Dredd would eventually become, and what could have been a trilogy, or maybe would have been a franchise. Maybe they would have brought in more in of the other comic characters that exist in Dredd's universe, which I would have been on board for. So it is unfortunate that the sequel was kind of canned, because it didn't really live up to the box office records. Like, it earned some of its money back, but not to a point now that, we're confident in a sequel, because Hellboy was successful. Like, the first film was successful. It was just more, and so was kind of the second one, but it mostly earned the same amounts the first one did. So it's like, do we really want to just keep making the same money from the same films? Like, we want to earn a profit from this.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
pretty much.
And unfortunately, Dredd was less successful than the second Hellboy movie. It was kind of... It didn't earn all its money back, even though the actors didn't even work for their full-on, like, contract prizes, like how much they would normally... Like, can you imagine if they got Harrison Ford in Carl Urban's place? My goodness, the film's budget would be mostly going to Harrison Ford.
I don't see why Harrison Ford would play a character like this, but yeah, I could see what you mean.
I'm just giving, like, a rough example of, like, why I can understand... Why there was a lot of passion behind this. Like, the actors didn't... Like, Carl Urban's, like... his price tag, not cheap. He's an expensive actor. But he was willing to not earn his full paycheck just so that this movie could succeed. Unfortunately, through that sacrifice, though, he still didn't earn... The movie still didn't live up to its expectations.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm glad, though, is that the film didn't do an end credit scene or hint into, like, a sequel. I mean, obviously, they kind of foreshadowed that. For instance, Kay, the gangster that they had recruited, I don't think he actually died. Because all we saw was his arm get blown off and we see him kicked in the face. I would have been surprised if he would have gone after Anderson with, like, a robotic limb. And obviously, Dredd would obviously probably come in and try and help her out. I'm giving a rough idea of what the sequel could have been.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And you mentioning Judge Death, I wouldn't have been surprised if he was going to be the main villain in, like, he was going to be the Bane of the third film, maybe. You know, like, who really pushes Dredd to fight. And it is a shame as well, because when I played the original Xbox game, there was all these mutants, there were these zombies called vampires for some reason. It would have been so cool to have seen Carl Urban's Dredd fight those mutants. Oh, especially going out into the wasteland. Like, they show glimpses of the wasteland. It would have been cool to actually explore, because maybe they could have taken what the Stallone movie did and they exiled Dredd. He got framed for something he didn't do, so he had to prove his innocence, but he also, got exiled. He got sent out into the wilderness, the wasteland.
Yeah, I get you.
And as much as if you're watching this really sad that this Dredd film didn't succeed, there might be a glimmer of hope. Carl Urban has expressed many times he will gladly return as Dredd for the same price that he did for this movie, and either it will be a movie or TV show. And word is, the director of this film has expressed interest in potentially working on this film, a sequel to the films on Netflix. So there could be a slight bit of hope. I mean, when most films or TV shows don't succeed, they jump to Netflix or Amazon Prime. Like, nearly everyone's done it at this point. And Matt Groening with his Disenchantment series, by the way, if you've not watched that, you need to watch it. It's terrific. What else? Lucifer. When they kind of stopped showing that on TV on Fox, Netflix were like, come on down, do your series on here now.
Yeah.
And so, if these rumours do turn out to be true, we might see Carl Urban Dredd return. It's a possibility. And I'm not going to rule it out.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to give false hope, but, Carl Urban and his director have been talking about it, so it's not impossible. Like, I do think this film will one day either get a reboot or a sequel, both of which I'll be totally up for. All I ask is keep Carl Urban as Dredd.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it is a reboot, subtly hint that, the original Dredd was kind of canon, similar to what Star Wars: The Clone Wars do. Even though the Old Republic series is no longer canon, they do kind of hint to it being canon still.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not picky. If they don't do a sequel to this, and this is the only Carl Urban Dredd film we get, you know what? It was a good film, and I can watch it multiple times and still enjoy it. And just like Richard said, yes, the nitpicky bits. That was just me trying to express more detail to why I didn't like the two characters. But the fact that I had to pick on two characters to try and say what I didn't like about the film and go into that much detail shows how much was really well about this film.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I do think more movie studios need to take more chances with films. Like, yes, I love DC and I love the Marvel comic movies, but don't be afraid to take chances. Like, you know, it's like there are many films that have taken chances with like lesser known characters and made them popular. Amazon Prime with The Boys, Netflix with She-Ra. Those were very big risks. They were a lot of money put into them, and they paid off. So take a chance, you know, take a chance, as me and my family say when playing Monopoly. So what's your final say of the Dredd movies and the potential sequel?
I really don't have anything else to say about it.
Alright,
If a sequel happens, it happens.
I mean, if it does happen, then I'll totally watch it, and hell, I'll even review it again with Richard, and who knows, maybe in a few years' time we'll look back on this film and see if our opinions have changed on it. So that was our opinions and just overall fascination with this movie, because Dredd is definitely an underrated classic, deserves more attention. If you've not watched this film, it's on Netflix at the moment. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix in every country, but in the UK and the US...
Yeah, it's only on Netflix in the UK.
Oh, just the UK? Do you want to make sense? It makes more sense now when you mention being a UK character.
Told you.
I never saw the signs. But yeah, if you have an interest in this character and you want a good introduction to him, this film is the good one to choose. Maybe watch the Sylvester Stallone after. It's a cheesy, fun film. Thank you for watching. Thanks to Saber King for coming on yet again. We will be returning to Lads Discuss antivirus software, not now. Come on, I'm just about to do the outro. We are going to return to Lads Discuss DC. We're going to be talking about death in the family.
Yep.
So, you know, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed what you see, share the videos around and get the channel growing. Saber King, say your bit.
Onward and upward!
By the way, did you know The Last of Us Part 2 won Game of the Year?